There's a massive $50 billion truth the food industry doesn't like to talk about. Many major companies intentionally market products to older adults that appear healthy on the surface, yet provide none of the nutrients your aging body actually requires. Even worse, at least 15 of these so-called foods are so devoid of real nutrition that they function more like overpriced toxins than nourishment. Think you could identify which ones they are? That bowl of Cheerios you pour every morning probably feels harmless, maybe even healthy. But here's the twist most people don't see coming. The truth is, many popular breakfast cereals contain more sugar than a glazed donut sitting in the bakery case. Yes, seriously, no exaggeration there. Those bright, cheerful boxes proudly shouting whole grain from the front are often playing a clever trick. Behind the marketing shine, most cereals are little more than sweets, pretending to be breakfast, packed with refined flour and enough sugar to make your dentist wince. When you start your morning with one of these sugar-loaded cereals, your body reacts fast. Blood sugar spikes almost instantly, then plummets just as hard, like a sudden wipeout when a kid hops on a bike without training wheels. Before you know it, maybe 20 minutes later you're even hungrier than before and wondering why you suddenly feel drained and foggy. And here's where it gets unsettling. Bad breakfast habits don't just zap your energy for the morning, they can slowly interfere with memory and mental clarity over time. That connection actually makes a lot of sense when you think about it. So instead of grabbing that cereal box again, consider switching things up. A bowl of steel-cut oatmeal topped with fresh berries gives your brain real fuel, keeps you full longer, and helps you cruise comfortably all the way to lunchtime. Your body, and especially your mind, will appreciate the upgrade. While we're on the topic of breakfast blunders, there's another quiet troublemaker hiding right in your refrigerator: processed deli meats. That quick ham or turkey sandwich may look like an easy, harmless choice, but the reality between those slices of bread tells a different story. Most deli meats are essentially salt overload sealed in plastic, delivering sodium levels high enough to send your blood pressure soaring like a blaring smoke detector. And unfortunately, the problems don't stop there. The preservatives that keep deli turkey looking fresh and pink, sodium nitrates, have been linked to an 18% increase in cancer risk with just one serving a day. That's less like a small gamble and more like playing Russian roulette with your lunch. As we age, our kidneys are already working extra hard to filter waste and maintain balance. Piling on excessive salt only makes their job harder, like dumping an entire truckload of sodium onto an already stressed system. And here's the final insult. Most deli meats offer so little real nutrition they barely outperform the napkin they're wrapped in. You're essentially paying premium prices for dressed-up salt. A smarter alternative is surprisingly simple. Roast or grill a chicken breast at the start of the week, slice it up, and use it for meals over the next few days. Your heart will feel the difference, your grocery bill will thank you, and you'll finally be eating real food instead of a chemistry experiment. When it comes to foods pretending to be healthy, frozen dinners really need their own caution sign. It always makes me laugh. My neighbor swears she's making a smart choice because her microwave meal shows a bright green broccoli floret on the box. But here's the reality check. Most of those little green flecks aren't vegetables at all. They're usually just dried herbs sprinkled in for show. Frozen TV dinners are essentially sodium overloads packaged in cardboard trays. A single meal can deliver more than 60% of your recommended daily salt intake, which is basically the same as shaking half a salt shaker directly onto your food. And this part really gets me. They label it Salisbury steak, yet finding real steak inside is almost a scavenger hunt. Instead, these meals are packed with fillers, artificial coloring, and preservatives with ingredient names longer than your weekly shopping list. Your body struggles to make sense of all those chemicals when it's expecting actual nourishment. As for protein, you're usually getting about the same amount you'd find in a small handful of peanuts, not exactly a powerhouse meal. And unfortunately, it doesn't stop there. The very preservatives that keep these dinners shelf-stable for months can quietly drain your energy and cloud your thinking, doing your brain no favors at all. Since we're already talking about things that quietly sabotage your brain, let's shine a light on those diet sodas chilling in your fridge. For years, diet soda felt like a clever workaround. Swapping real sugar for artificial sweeteners seemed smart, like upgrading from an old clunker to a sleek new ride. Unfortunately, all we did was trade one problem for a different kind of breakdown. Here's the hard truth. Older adults who regularly drink diet soda have been shown to face a 36% higher risk of stroke, And no, that number isn't a typo. The artificial sweeteners in these drinks confuse the body because it doesn't recognize them as food. That confusion can interfere with heart rhythm and disrupt healthy blood flow. And the list of downsides keeps growing. Aspartame, that hard-to-pronounce ingredient found in most diet drinks, causes headaches in roughly 12% of people over the age of 65. Your gut bacteria aren't fans either, often reacting in ways that throw digestion completely off balance. Then there's the memory concern. Research shows that people who drink diet soda regularly experience faster cognitive decline compared to those who avoid it altogether. At that point, you have to ask yourself, what are we really cutting calories for? If you still want that bubbly sensation without turning your body into a chemistry lab, plain sparkling water with a squeeze of fresh lemon does the trick. You get the fizz your taste buds enjoy, minus the chemical fallout. And speaking of things that look healthy but come with surprises, I'll admit, until a few months ago, I didn't even know what a health ring was. That changed when my fiance gave me one, and honestly, I'm stunned this isn't something more people are using. It tracks stress levels, and what really surprised me was seeing how certain supplements caused my stress score to spike, while others helped bring it down. Right now, they're offering a limited 69% discount, though there's no telling how long that will last. At the moment, it's priced around $60, which makes it an incredible value. Especially when you consider that other health rings sell for roughly $350 while offering fewer features. They've managed to keep the price this low by cutting out middlemen like Amazon and Walmart, whose margins often inflate prices 3 to 5 times by the time customers check out. If you're watching this on TV, you can take a look yourself by pausing the video and scanning the QR code with your phone's camera, or by clicking the first link in the video description. That slice of toast on your breakfast plate may look harmless, but white bread is really just sugar in costume. The same trick applies to instant rice that magically cooks in under a minute. When it comes to refined grains, here's the real problem. All the good stuff has been removed. The fiber is gone, the B vitamins disappear in a blink, and what you're left with is a blood sugar ride wild enough to leave a teenager feeling woozy. Another way to think about it, eating white bread is like purchasing a car without an engine. It might resemble transportation, but it's not taking you anywhere useful. Without fiber, digestion slows to a crawl, moving more like bumper-to-bumper traffic than a smooth highway. Constipation often shows up and refuses to leave, while your energy levels crash like an outdated computer from decades ago. And here's the part worth paying attention to. Research shows that diets rich in fiber can reduce the risk of heart attack by about 15%. Those are far better odds than most people ever get with a lottery ticket. And unlike the lottery, fiber actually pays off. Brown rice and whole wheat may take a little more time to cook, but the payoff is worth it. They help keep your memory sharper than your neighbor's hedge trimmer. And while we're talking about foods that quietly sabotage your health, let's address that crispy, golden crust on fried chicken. It looks irresistible, but there's a lot more going on beneath the crunch. Each bite of fried food delivers a heavy load of saturated and trans fats, which immediately get to work clogging your arteries. Unfortunately, the bad news doesn't stop there. Fried foods act like nutritional black holes, soaking up oil during cooking while offering almost nothing in the way of vitamins or real nourishment. It's the food equivalent of paying top dollar for junk mail, plenty of calories, zero value. Here's the part that should make anyone pause. Older adults who eat fried foods 4 or more times a week can actually double their risk of stroke. Those are not the kind of odds you want showing up at your dinner table. And let's not forget the mystery oils many restaurants rely on, often reused far longer than they should be. Over time, those oils form harmful compounds that can aggravate joint pain and inflammation. Now for the good news. Air fryers make it possible to enjoy that satisfying crunch without turning your meal into an oil-soaked sponge. You get the texture you love without drowning your health in grease. When it comes to things that seem harmless yet deliver a serious hit, your sweet tooth may be doing more damage in your later years than you'd expect. Hard candies and sugary snacks often feel like small indulgences, but they're really edible troublemakers dressed up as treats. Here's what's actually going on. Candy is nothing but concentrated sugar, offering no vitamins, minerals, or real nourishment whatsoever. It's like filling a lawnmower with jet fuel, lots of power for a moment, but no practical benefit. Blood sugar spikes almost instantly, then drops just as fast, leaving you drained and sluggish, and the fallout doesn't stop with energy crashes. Sticky sweets create the perfect environment for bacteria, turning your mouth into prime real estate for cavities and gum disease, problems that already hit seniors harder. That connection starts to make a lot of sense when you think about it. Here's the surprising part. Older adults who reduce their sugar intake often report less joint discomfort and noticeably better sleep. Even bone strength can improve when constant sugar hits are removed from the equation. The strangest thing is how quickly your taste buds reset. After just 2 weeks without candy, something as simple as an apple suddenly tastes like nature's own candy bar. While we're on the topic of hidden sugar traps, let's talk about those healthy fruits floating in syrup. You know the ones, bright, shiny peach slices soaking in thick, sticky liquid that looks downright tempting. But here's the reality check. Those fruit cups are basically candy pretending to be health food. That sugary syrup contains more sugar than 8 chocolate chip cookies. Yes, 8. Even your grandmother's legendary cookie recipe doesn't compete with these innocent-looking cups of fruit. And here's the most frustrating part. During processing, most of the vitamin C and fiber that made fruit worth eating in the first place gets stripped away. It's like paying for a luxury car only to find out the engine's been removed. Sure, it still looks impressive, but it's not doing what it's supposed to do. What you're left with is a blood sugar roller coaster. One moment you feel a burst of energy, and the next you're sprawled on the couch wondering why you feel completely wiped out. And let's be honest, your pancreas isn't 20 years old anymore. It doesn't need this kind of unnecessary chaos just to get through the day. Just when you think you've spotted all the obvious offenders, there's an even sneakier culprit hiding in plain sight, right in your pantry, posing as a fast, healthy option. In reality, the snack aisle at your grocery store is closer to a salt mine wrapped in colorful packaging. Potato chips, pretzels, and crackers all fall into the category nutrition experts politely call empty calories, which sounds far better than what they really are: crunchy sodium with no real nutritional payoff. Here's the reality check. More than 70% of older adults already consume too much salt each day. Tossing in a bag of chips only makes the situation worse. It's like pouring gasoline on an already raging fire. Aging kidneys are already working overtime, and the extra sodium just piles on more stress. Your heart feels that strain too. And unfortunately, the problems don't end there. Many processed snack foods contain hydrogenated oils, a type of fat that may interfere with memory and brain function. So that afternoon snack could literally be the reason you're searching for your car keys 5 minutes later. Even the bloating alone should be a warning sign. Too much salt causes your body to hold on to water, puffing you up like a parade balloon while sending blood pressure soaring. If you still crave something crunchy without putting your heart through unnecessary drama, there are better options. Unsalted popcorn or a simple homemade trail mix deliver the satisfying crunch you want, without turning snack time into a health hazard. Since we're already talking about foods with an unexpected snap to them, it's time to call out those instant noodles hiding quietly in your pantry. Your grandmother may have warned you about indulgent restaurant meals, but she probably never mentioned the processed surprises waiting at home. Those compact square blocks of instant ramen are essentially refined flour bricks loaded with salt. And here's the real shocker. One single packet can contain more sodium than you're supposed to have in an entire day. That's basically the equivalent of licking a salt shaker and calling it lunch. As for those chicken flavor seasoning packets, let's just say they have more in common with a science experiment than with an actual bird. No chickens were involved, just a mystery blend of chemicals designed to taste convincing enough to fool your tongue. Unfortunately, the bad news doesn't stop there. Packaged soups aren't much of an upgrade either. They're often filled with additives and preservatives that sound more at home in a laboratory than in something meant for your stomach. Ironically, many of these ingredients can leave you more dehydrated, the exact opposite of what a warm bowl of soup is supposed to do. And when it comes to actual nourishment, these meals fall flat. They typically contain barely any protein and offer fewer vitamins than the promises you hear in a multivitamin commercial. As your body gets older, it needs genuine fuel to function well, not watered-down shortcuts pretending to be meals. Since we're talking about the kind of fuel your body actually needs, there's something about dairy that might catch you off guard. Your grandmother probably warned you to stay away from raw cookie dough because of the eggs, but she was tapping into a much bigger issue than a simple stomachache. Raw milk and unpasteurized cheeses may sound wholesome, trendy, or back to nature. But in reality, they're more like a gamble with dangerous bacteria. At 70, your immune system simply isn't the same force it was at 30. Germs like Salmonella and E. coli, bugs younger people might brush off, can send older adults to the hospital in record time. Here's the part that really matters. Roughly 1 out of every 6 seniors who get food poisoning end up needing medical treatment. And that expensive raw milk cheese that costs twice as much? It offers no real advantage. Pasteurized options provide the same calcium and protein benefits without putting your health on the line. But here's what makes this situation especially tricky. Some of these higher-risk foods are hiding in places you'd never think to question, especially among breakfast staples that seem perfectly safe at first glance. You know those bright orange slices that never seem to melt the way cheese should? Yeah, we need to have a real talk about processed cheese products. Those plastic-wrapped squares are about as authentic as a $3 bill. Some of them contain less than 51% actual cheese, and the rest is a strange blend of stabilizers, artificial coloring, and enough sodium to make your blood pressure monitor start beeping in protest. But here's the real problem. They're quietly shortchanging you nutritionally. Real cheese provides calcium to support strong bones and protein to help maintain muscle. These lookalikes mostly deliver chemicals your body doesn't recognize and salt your kidneys would much rather avoid. And since we're talking about foods that disguise themselves as healthy choices, let's open up another sneaky category hiding in your pantry. That old pickle jar your grandmother kept around? It may be concealing a serious sodium overload. Tangy pickles, fancy olives, crispy bacon strips, and even that pricey prosciutto are essentially salt delivery systems dressed up as gourmet foods. Here's what's really happening. Brined and cured foods often contain more sodium than your body needs in an entire day. Just 1 slice of bacon can pack enough salt to trigger your blood pressure monitor, and that's before lunch even rolls around. But the biggest issue goes beyond heart health. Excess salt pulls water out of your cells faster than a sponge left in the desert. Medications don't work the way they should. Your thinking gets cloudy. Bones and muscles start breaking down faster than they should. The strange part is how fancy it all feels. We think we're being sophisticated with charcuterie boards and gourmet olives, while our bodies are quietly begging for real nourishment. Protein, fiber, vitamins, not just flavor explosions. Try switching to herb-marinated chicken instead. Your taste buds still get the celebration, but your body finally gets the nutrients it's been asking for. Since we're already on the subject of risky food choices, it's time to talk about items that can genuinely make you sick. This one surprises a lot of people. That perfectly pink steak or beautifully arranged sushi platter might look harmless, but for older adults, they can turn into a serious gamble. Raw oysters, undercooked beef, and uncooked fish often carry bacteria that younger immune systems can brush off without much trouble. Aging bodies, on the other hand, don't have the same margin for error. When food poisoning hits seniors, it doesn't arrive gently. It hits like a freight train. What starts as mild stomach discomfort can quickly escalate into dehydration, kidney complications, or an unexpected hospital visit. The truth is, your immune system isn't the bouncer it once was. It takes longer to recognize trouble and even longer to remove it. Raw shellfish alone sends thousands of older adults to emergency rooms every single year. That's more people than show up at most high school graduations. And the most unsettling part? Bacteria like Salmonella and E. coli multiply incredibly fast, spreading quicker than gossip at a church potluck. The good news is that safety doesn't mean sacrificing flavor. Properly cooked foods like grilled salmon, well-seared steaks, and baked chicken provide all the protein your muscles need, without turning dinner into a bacterial lottery. There's another quiet hazard hiding in the produce aisle that most people never think twice about. Raw sprouts may look like the picture of health sitting on top of a salad, but for older adults, they're basically 5-star hotels for bacteria. Here's why. Alfalfa and bean sprouts are incredibly good at hiding germs, better than a teenager hiding their screen time. By the time you hit your mid-60s, your immune system isn't the alert nightclub bouncer it once was. It's closer to a tired security guard who misses a few troublemakers slipping through the door. In fact, nearly half of all vegetable-related food poisoning outbreaks are traced back to sprouts. Yes, those tiny greens are often the main culprit. And what's strange is how backwards our habits are. We carefully rinse apples under running water, then casually toss raw sprouts onto sandwiches and salads without a second thought. For seniors, the consequences can be serious. Raw sprouts have been linked to everything from stomach issues to pneumonia. The problem starts at the seed level. Many seeds already carry bacteria, and the warm, damp conditions needed for sprouting are exactly what those germs love. Improperly washed leafy greens can pose similar risks too. Same issue, different vegetable. If you still want crunch without rolling the dice, there's a safer swap. Choose spinach, kale, or even cooked beets instead. You get the texture and nutrients, minus the gamble.